one.
Hi guys.
Oh, it's still loading. Okay.
Teaching from home today. Just to make sure it's the first time we've tried this on YouTube. So just make sure everything's looking good. All right. So
I'll give everybody a couple of minutes to get logged on.
Here we are.
Chase,
yes.
come here.
Here you are. And I can see our arrow garden. Everybody can see our tomatoes.
How many people do we have on?
2.
But you're one of them.
Our arrow garden. Everybody can see our tomatoes.
How many people do you have on?
Your earbuds are not here.
What?
Your earbuds aren't here. That's why I can hear you.
Oh. Why not? There it is.
It's really dark. What?
Is it always this dark?
Yeah, pretty much. Things you just notice, you know.
I'll do good.
All right. All right, guys. Why don't you let us know who's here? So go to the
Rewatching.
chat. How many we have now, Miss Liz?
Well, Chloe's here.
Hi, Chloe.
10,000.
10,000, huh? All right, let's see. I need to get that. Okay.
I want to know who's watching in their pajamas. Sam's here.
Hi, Sam. Boom. All right, so let's start off. Who has something in particular they would like to go over today? Burning question, Sam?
Is that the technique list?
Uh-huh. I don't know how long it'll last, but... All right, how many people, Miss Liz?
Josh, Earl, and Natalie are here.
Hi, Josh, Earl, and Natalie. So we've got Sam, Chloe, Josh, Earl, Natalie. All right, let's get and bow in. All right, let's get started here. Go. Let's get warmed up. High, middle, low, low, middle, high, pivot, pivot. Okay, so let's do that. So, high, middle, low, low, middle, high, pivot and punch, pivot and punch. High, middle, low, middle, high, pivot and punch, pivot and punch. So do 10 of those. Go.
You need a bigger background.
Yeah.
All right, what's wrong with the red wall? Looks good. All right. So we're blocking set. Inward, outward, upward, downward, punch. Inward, outward, upward, downward, punch. In, out, up, down, punch. In, out, up, down, punch. In, out, up, down, punch, in, out, up, down, punch, in, out, up,
Pull that table
down,
more.
punch, in, out,
It's coming
up,
off Daddy's head.
down, punch.
Oh, that is a lot.
Now how come I can see my whole body on this one?
I don't
And I'm
know.
cut off on that one. Can everybody see my head?
No, that's a good thing.
Ha ha ha, Miss Liz, you're
How about
so
now?
funny.
How about now?
No.
Come on, you gotta give it. Remember, you're on like a delay.
7-second delay. In case I accidentally say a naughty word. Okay, so do that one a whole bunch of times. In, out, up, down, punch. In, out, up, down, punch.
Just
What, still cutting my head off?
just back up one.
Well, let's do this then. How's that?
Want it?
All right,
It should be higher.
now.
Don't it be higher?
Does it have my head in? Does it have me in frame now? All right, ready? Chamber this hand, put this on your shoulder. Back fist, punch, inverted punch. 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 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So do that. See how fast you can go.
Bob over.
Alright. Okay, now, when everybody relax, get in a little horse stance, doesn't have to be a big one. Alright, and we're going to be like a gunslinger in the Old West. We're going to take our hand, pull it up, and fire out a punch.
Move that chair. That chair.
The idea is to drive your hip forward as you punch and do it as fast as you can. I'm not used to people walking in front of me while I teach. Anybody I know?
It's your dad.
So let's see if you can beat me. Ready, go! Try the other hand. Good. All right. Knees up. Now, we're going to do a little tie block. I want you to take your front leg and pick your knee up till your knee and your elbow touch. So this is basically doing a universal block, except you're using one arm and one leg. So block, 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 block. Same thing on the other side. Block, 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 block. Get your hips turned. Block, 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 block. Good. All right. How we doing, Miss Liz? How many people we have now? Same? Does anybody have any questions? All right. Is Mr. Chase ready?
Mm-hmm.
He said he was ready. All right. So, I'm going to have my hands up. Chase is going to come in with, let's do a knife attack. That'll make Sam happy. All right. Put in your right hand, lefty. All right. So, as soon as you see the weapon, you, give him what he wants, or run away. If you can't do that, then pull out your own bigger, better weapon, or your shield, or your things to throw at him. And if you exhaust all those possibilities in half a second, because you don't have any of them, then empty hand defense. So as soon as you see the weapon, first thing you need to do is turn your hands over, and we're going to get off the plane of attack. And what I'm going to do here is arc off and do a kind of like a pendulum with my left hand. So as he tries to stick me, see? Whoa! All right. Now I can't let him take that hand back. So I'm going to need to grab hold of it. Now, what I did here was I grabbed his wrist with both hands and I locked my arm in to control his elbow. See? So now he can't move the knife. Then I'll slide down and take his thumb. So say, hey man, I don't want any trouble. 1, 2, 3. But use your body here, see, to lock that arm in. All right, so he can't pull it back out. All right, so when he comes in, he's going to be firing this way, and it won't just be one strike, it'll be multiple. So once he's extended, you can't let him bring it back for the next strike. All right, so hang on, I don't want any trouble. Get off the line. All right, grab his wrist. Now, I don't know if you can tell this, but I'm physically pushing him, see, that way to pull him off balance. And you feel the lock I have on your arm? All right, right there. Then I'm going to control that, all right? And from there, I'm going to claw up break his nose and claw into his face. And I'm hyperextending his elbow across my chest. All right, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. See now. Let's see the grab I have on his thumb. See that? All right. So if I just grab a wrist, he can move that around, and that's no good. So to control him, I have to be holding the thumb. Now, even better is when I have his elbow here. Okay. So now I've isolated it, and see how if I can pull him off balance. All right. I'm going to have the initiative for a minute. All right, well, not a minute, a couple seconds. All right, so from that control point, then I can think about taking out his eyes. All right, if he can't see me, he doesn't know where I am, he's not going to be able to hurt me. And I'm going to get out of here at the first opportunity. So 1, 2, 3. All right, now from there, I can step back, drop him to the ground, break his arm over my thigh. All right. All right. So Chase comes in. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I use his body mass as he falls to break, and I'm anchoring his wrist here, and I drop it right across my thigh for the arm break. All right. So that should prevent him from being able to pull that back and sticking this again. Let's do that from a different angle. Let's try it from this diagonal.
There's the dog.
Hi, Benny. Can't sit there, bud. Okay, so boom. Did everybody see how I arced? All right, now first thing we're gonna have to do here, right, is protect things that are very problematic if we get cut in them: our heart, our throat, and our eyes. So my hands are this way so that if I get cut, when I get cut, it'll be on the back of my forearm. All right. So once you make contact, you're not going to lose contact. Let's do that from this angle again. All right. So 1, 2. All right. Now see how off balance Chase is? I'm really hugging it in with that elbow. This hand is right now controlling the wrist. That's going to switch to the thumb. I'm going to keep that pressure on. And then I'm going to explode this inverted thumb down claw up and into the face and drive him back. All right. Now, if you can see how I'm using my Superman chest to hyperextend his elbow across.
I can't stand like that.
Oh, that's okay. All right. All right. So that's option 1. All right. Now, option 2, we're gonna. Benny, can you call him?
Benny.
Come on, buddy. I know we're in your spot. Okay. So now, if we have to go the other way, all right, we're gonna step to the inside and get off the plane of attack. All right. So, boom, and that. Ooh, very. I almost took Chase's head off there, but you'll see I caught the arm again with the outside of the hand. All right, and then he's going to try to pull it back to get another swing. So I have to move with it back in, and I need to again control the elbow. You see how I lock on here? All right, so I'm controlling his arm at 1, 2, 3 points. All right. So I'm here, 1, and he turned his head that time.
Oh.
You're going to take this forearm right across his face because you don't want to get punched with this hand. So you need to take his head that way to take any sting off the punch. Now he may still be able to touch you, but it'll take a lot of the power out of it. But you're not going to give him time. All right. So I'm contacting him at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and then I'm going to fire knees up into the body. If I want to do a takedown, I can do that. But remember, you have to maintain control of the arm with the knife in it the whole time. You can't have that thing unaccounted for, or bad things can happen. All right, so let's do that from here. So don't stand right in front of the camera. That's why I put you off to the side.
I can't see.
Some people are hard to direct. Actors. Okay, so from there, 1. See how I get off to the side. Now, most guys have when they have a weapon, they're focused on hitting you with the weapon. Hopefully, that will be the case. And he's not a really smart bad guy who knows that this is just a weapon of many he has, and then has that other hand coming in. All right, but this hand's going to be up anyway. All right, so I can shield as I go in. All right, so from here, 1, 2, and I'm right up and in. All right, so now I'm being really nice to Chase's wrist, but when I hit him, I would be hitting that radial nerve with the intent to make that knife go flying. Now, remember, when you're attacked, disarms are accidental or incidental. All right. You know what they call people who go for the disarm? Patience, right? All right, so 1, 2. All right, boom, boom. Control that, step back, and maintain that control so he doesn't come up and over and start slicing you, okay? The more points of contact you have on his arm, the better the control you have over it. And right here, I got knee here. I could hit him on this leg, hit him in the body, fire kicks up into the groin, right? I can put him in a shoulder lock, okay? As I drive his head down. And see here, I have him in a wrist lock, elbow lock, and shoulder lock all at the same time. Woo! Okay. All right. All right, so any questions on that? Now, When you go off to the left, you're going to arc. When you go off to the right, you're going to do a push drag shuffle because you want to get out of there fast. All right, so it's going to be, but you're not going to set. So this is kind of like checking the storm, right? You're going to go 1, 2, and in. So as soon as you block it, 1, 2. All right, so you're like a football player making a cut, step, step, because you don't have time, right, to set your weight and then remove. So as soon as this touches, you've got to go in fast to close the distance. All right. Now, alternatively, if you do have room to run, you can always think about a long-range kick, like a crossover rear kick or a shuffle side kick, you know, to the body, followed by running the heck out of there. Now, remember, you have to evaluate the situation. If you're 50 years old and you're in dress clothes, you're probably not going to outrun a 22-year-old punk in sneakers.
Unless you're Earl.
Right? Unless you're Earl. Right. So running away is a great option, but it's not always or Natalie, I guess. Sorry, Nat, dude. It's not always a what's the word I'm looking for here? Viable. That's the word. It's not always a viable option because of the situation. You know, you can't run because your family's in the car, or you can't run because you've got dress shoes on and dress pants, or you can't run because ladies, you're in a dress and heels, or whatever the case may be. Okay, all right, very good. So now let's take a similar defensive thought. Come on, Chase. From he had a sneeze. Did you hear that? It was pretty loud. All right, from a roundhouse punch. So I'm here now. I can move outside of it this way. Now, what the problem there is that he has a left kick and a left punch. So in Kempo, we're always trying to make him miss and immediately go to a counterattack. But what if that's not very realistic? What if you get caught a little bit flat-footed by surprise? So when you jump out of the way, you come over here and then so you have to think about, okay, well, where do I need to jump to? So think about your clock. You're standing in the middle of the clock, right? 12 o'clock in front, 6 o'clock in back, 3 o'clock there, 9 o'clock there. So stepping back to 4:30 could be a good idea. Because from now, and kick. See, I'm slightly out of range. All right, he's got a little bit longer reach with his legs than I do, okay? But I'm expecting that, all right? So that comes next. Bum, bum. All right, so let's do that. We're gonna go to the back 45. We're gonna block, and he comes in with the kick. All right, and I'm just gonna go outward block, downward block. This other hand's gonna stay up to protect. So outward, downward, right? Then I can kick out that plant leg, kick up into the groin, and then kick out the plant leg, right? But the point is, I've got control of him. I can just back up really, really fast till he does a split and falls down. All right, so outward, downward. Now, you can't really see my feet, so I'm going outward, downward. So I'm taking 2 steps. One, I'm stepping, and one, I'm stepping with my right. 2, I'm stepping with my left. So as this comes out, 1, 2. But I'm anticipating the second punch. I'm not just going to go 1. Holy moly, geez! Did you see that second shot come in? I wasn't looking for that. You're expecting it. If he doesn't throw it, that's on him. All right, but on that first step, I'm too far away for him to punch me, boom, without him stepping in, which means I can do checking the storm. All right, he throws the punch, 1, 2, right? I can fire that kick. All right, or 1, 2, I can fire the punch and then scoop kick to the groin, knee to the body, whatever the case may be. All right, 1. All right, but if he throws that, 2. I'm going to have to do another little adjustment step. 1, 2. See, this moves me this much. All right. And then I'm going to put this move. See? So each step moved my torso, bump, bump, over. The first step brought it this far. See, I'm right here. Now I'm right here. Now I'm over here. See? All right. So each step is going to move my torso. So you're expecting that second strike. So you're always thinking, well, if I can make him miss me with the first one, but I'm not in a position to hit him back, how can I make sure he doesn't hit me with his second shot?
All right, Chase.
All right, so you block the first one. Boom, if we can reach him, we can kick. But, all right, we kind of put ourselves out of kicking range a little bit because we stepped on a back diagonal. All right, so that means he has to cover a lot of distance coming forward. But you always have to be ready to change the plan after the initial move. You got to be paying attention to the situation, not just rotely going through a Kempo technique, hoping everything happens exactly according to plan, which of course it never will. All right, so 1, 2. All right, now I'm grabbing his wrist, but I could just block it and then hit him as well. All right. So we go 1, 2, 3. Outward block, downward block, side kick his knee. Outward block, downward block, side kick his knee. Outward block, downward block, side kick his knee. All right, so we'll call this Durning's Devastation 317. What, I don't know what number we're on. I'm just no good at naming techniques. Okay. Good?
Yeah.
All right, so now I'm here. Now normally we don't move in. Now it's funny. On the club techniques, it always has us moving into the club to get inside the arc. But on punch techniques, all right, we're either stepping to 10-30 with our left, or we're stepping to 12 with our right, like whether we're doing thundering hammers or we're doing 5 swords. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I want everybody to put their hands at their sides, close their eyes. All right. Now, when I yell move, I want everybody to drop back to a fighting stance and put their hands up. Ready? Hands at your sides, eyes closed, and move. And freeze. What foot do you have forward? Are you left foot forward or are you right foot forward? Okay. So, if you, like most people, end up with your left foot in front, then doing a technique like Defying the Storm or 5 Swords is not really, you're not going to be in a position for that. Because remember, there are 3 starting positions. Left side forward, squared off, right side forward. Actually, there's 4 starting positions, but you don't want to start in this one. That would be really bad. So I pretend it doesn't even exist. All right. So you can have your left side forward because you're expecting something. Hey man, I don't want any trouble. You're squared off because you're not expecting any trouble. Because if you were, you'd be here and not standing here like this. All right, and this is the other way. Now you have your other side forward. Now, if he's throwing a roundhouse punch, which is the most common street attack for men, at your head, which is the most targeted target. All right, then if your right side's forward, you can go right ahead and do, fatal deviation, Defying the Storm, 5 Swords, anything on that family of techniques. All right. Master key movement, 5 Swords. All right. Now, if your left side's forward, though, then we don't really have a lot of Kempo techniques that teach us what to do against the roundhouse right, which kind of puts us in a boxing situation a little bit. But if you don't want to go straight to the boxing situation, right, then, and you want to still be able to work a technique and do contact manipulation, then we're going to take a page from the club attack manual, as it were. So as I'm here, as that comes in, I'm going to do the same thing I did off the punch earlier, and block his arm, and then take that across the jaw, get him tight, and follow up with the knee. Right. So as soon as I see that coming in, all right, I'm going to step into it, and I'm going to hit him on beat one. All right. So we have a couple of ways to do that. You know, my favorite way is boom, with securing the storm. Right. Boom. Block and a palm to the face, okay? But if you wanted to be even more aggressive than that, you step in and cover your targets, shielding, right? And then, boom, catch that and drive it back, see, before he has a chance to really get his shoulder forward and load up that punch, all right? So we're gonna jam it. So as soon as I think that's coming, I'm gonna jam that. Now, I don't know if you can see, but again, I have him block there, but see, I'm also grabbing his tricep. I'm not just holding the block. I'm pushing my forearm one way and pulling my hand the other way. See what that's doing to his body? Okay, and at the same time, as I stepped in, I blasted him with a forearm, all right, to the head. Can follow that right up at the knee to the groin, elbow to the head, you know, whatever from there. Okay? We're a little cramped here. All right, so I want everybody to take the heel of your palms, touch that to your forehead. So here you're shielding, so you're here, so you're not blocking your vision. All right? Drive in, all right? Catch him on the arm, all right? And the chin or the jaw all at the same time. Lock that in. Now see how that pushed his groin and body forward as I turned that arm, right? And drive that head back. I want him off balance because remember, no one is strong in this position. All right. Questions?
Josh would like to know, what if a person has a machete?
Okay. What's a machete, Josh? It's a weapon. So number one, give him what he wants if it's just stuff, or run the heck away. All right? 2, pull out your gun or your big stick or your katana and lop his head off. Oh, you don't have a weapon. Okay. Then you use your shield. All right? So you have a backpack or whatever. You know, take your coat off, whatever you need to do. Get something, all right, solid, to interpose between you and the blade to block it for a split second so you can hit him with a telling kick to knock him down. If you can't do that, get stuff to throw at him. And, you know, if you can't do that, empty hand defense against machete wielder. All right, which again, now, let's talk about the type of weapon a machete is. A machete is more like a club with an edge than it is like a knife. Knives are going to come in from lots of different angles, and they're going to come in slashes and stabs. Okay, so, but Chase, the machete, he's going to pull it back and he's going to swing. Okay, now if you've done any Ornice, don't go in. All right, then you'll know that double Simwali is 2 machetes, right? All right. So you'll see the attack angles: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so it's going to either come in from the side here, it's going to come in from the downward diagonal, it's going to come straight down onto the head, it's going to come down on this diagonal, or it's going to come across straight. I doubt that anyone is doing a reversey, a little bit of a medieval rapier fighting there type of attack coming up from low angles. Okay, they're usually going to be coming down in a chopping motion. All right, now it'll probably be one of the diagonals, but just know it can come straight across or straight down as well. So as that comes in with that chopping motion,
Am I doing a diagonal?
yeah, just to the, you're gonna have to get in just like a club and do, capturing a storm. All right, or same thing.
I forgot it. I'm trying to visualize the shit. Okay.
All right, now we got it. All right, so boom, boom, right, and what the heck's the Parker name for that? Spinning from the sun was the old name. How do I remember the one I learned 35 years ago and not the one I learned 25 years ago? All right, so but from here, come in with both hands up to shield. All right, then I grabbed his wrist, rolled over, put him in an arm bar. Boom, 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 boom. All right. All right. If it comes in on the diagonal, you're in that same position we were before, where if you can't get away, you need to get inside the arc of the weapon. All right. So as soon as it comes in, you're going to have to get in and underneath. You're going to need to block it with this hand, get that, and deal with him with extreme prejudice. All right. All right, and if it comes in completely sideways, that's, basically, but you have to, it's way more dangerous, but you have to deal with it the same way you would a club attack. You need to get inside the arc. All right, so think about what's the most likely thing. The most likely thing is an attack on the diagonals, an attack straight down, or an attack that comes in from either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Probably not coming up on these angles. All right. All right. So run away, give him your stuff, pull out your own bigger, better weapon, pull out your shield, pull out your stuff to throw, empty hand defense. Because of the length of the machete compared to a knife, I think it's a little less wieldy. Like a knife, you can really move around a lot quicker and with more agility, and feint and change attack angles much more quickly because of the heft of the machete. But at some point, you have to avoid getting hit, and then you're going to have to get inside the arc of the weapon. All right. Other questions? All right. All right. So now, let's do Clipping the Storm, which we were working on, but I didn't have Chase on Thursday night. Now, Clipping the Storm is not a knife attack. All right. It is a poking club. So a person has the club with a few inches sticking out the side, boom, and he tries to, we got a club. Who knew? All right. So that's a really long club. So you're gonna, so instead of holding at the end, which you would do if you're hitting it up here, you take it more around the middle.
Oh, for
right?
jamming.
And then, boom, so you don't hold it all the way at the end so much for jamming. You'll have more point control if you move up a little bit, right? Right. So you're here. This is up the guy's sleeve, right? So let's turn around so everybody can see what's going on here. See? So I then drop and I jam it in, and then I stand back, bam, and then I break his collarbone, and then I bash him in the head a whole bunch of times, right? But if I'm holding it this way, see, then I just drop it down, and then boom, just drive it into the sternum or solar plexus, and this is a fight ender. They take that and jam that in there, and they get the right spot, and you're pretty much helpless. All right. So from here, I'm going to arc off, same exact first move as the knife, and I'm going to chop down on his radial nerve. Then I'm going to chop down on that again, and I'm going to chop him in the throat. All right. So arc off, chop down, chop the throat. Now, here's where Kempo and reality kind of start to part ways a little bit. Remember, the first 3 moves are martial, the rest is art. All right, so as we arc off and drop down, hopefully hitting that radial nerve will make him drop the club. And boom! If not the first one, then the second one. And then, for real life, grab his thumb, chop, see, then you have him in the control position, right? Break his elbow, take him down. All right, but for the technique, all right, we're gonna arc off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so first thing I do is chop down in the arm as I arc off. Second thing I do is chop down in the arm. Now that should bring his head forward, and I drive it back and straighten him up with the chop, thrusting knife hand to the throat. The thrusting knife hand comes in straight. I love this move. Boom. All right, pop, and then from there, I do a 4-finger spear into the eyes. Okay. All right. So chop, 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 eyes. Now we're going to chop his throat again and knee the groin all at the same time. And as we plant forward, palm straight to the face. All right. So let's turn this way, diagonal. All right. So maybe they can see the arc. So chop, 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 spear. Now you'll see that whatever hand I'm not using is checking that arm, right? So there's opportunities to do other things, right? As I'm working. All right, so arc off, chop down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now from there, this is just gonna slide right up. And as I drive him forward, again, we're a little cramped for space here, so I'm not gonna drive forward full force right now. And drive his head back, and then this can lift up, drive the head back. If the chop stands him up, then the palm strike will bend him over backwards. Okay, so let's do it from this diagonal. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so that's clipping the storm. First order of business is don't get hit in the stomach with the butt of that club. All right, so that would be bad. All right, so in the air, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll do this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Now, if this was a knife instead of a club, all right, right here. All right. So as soon as I did the first block, the second one will go right for that thumb, right? Because again, I can't let him pull it back, and do a second stab. See? So I need, as soon as I tap, I gotta grab it while it's still extended. All right. Then I need to control it. All right, and then I can do stuff from there. I hate that grab. All right, so clipping the storm. Any questions? Miss Liz, any questions on the board?
It's not the same as this thrusting knife technique.
It's not a knife technique.
No, but what is that whole technique? This,
I know the one you mean.
the butter knife one?
Yeah.
This, here, there, this, right? Down there.
Why don't you
there's-
come on out?
Because I'm in my robe.
Uh-huh. All right. All right, questions?
Yeah, I want to learn how to do that.
I just showed you. Dun, dun. So basically clipping the storm is just parting wings on the diagonal. See? Bomb, 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 bomb. So if you know parting wings, then you already basically know how to do clipping the storm, because it's the exact same pattern, except one is on the horizontal and one is on the diagonal. How we doing, Chase? No. Any questions, Mommy? All right, come on, guys. We got 12 minutes left. What do you got for me? I know Josh has a burning question. Besides, what do you do if the guy has a machete? Remember,
Sam's been awfully quiet.
Hey, Sam, you have been awfully quiet. Hey, you want me to show you some cool Filipino knife fighting? Here. I learned this from Huck Planis like a million years ago. All right, so I have my hand in a kind of a defensive knife position. Chase has his in an offensive knife position. This is called pikal or pickaxe. All right, so again, my hands are up. Now as that comes in though, except when I come down, I'm gonna slash his arm open. That really hurts. Imagine if it was a real knife. That would have gone right through his arm. All right. God. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So some parlor tricks, right? So as I arc off, I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna fillet. Oh God. I love that word, fillet. Fillet the skin right off of his forearm. Then I'm gonna grab his thumb again. As soon as it's extended, I'm gonna put him in a wrist lock. Now from here, right? The knife never loses contact with his arm. So I go cut, roll, cut his wrist. Right? Cut, roll, cut his wrist. All right, this was such a common thing to do apparently that Huck used to say, well, in the Philippines they play cut for a beer. So they practice their knife fighting on each other and they try to cut each other. Whoever cuts the other person, the guy who got cut has to buy him a beer, right? There you go. Anecdotal, I know. But, so he said that back in the old days, they used to sew soup cans, old tin ones, not like aluminum ones, tin soup cans inside their sleeves so to prevent getting cut when that guy goes for your wrist. Now, in all of sword fighting, through all of time, okay, going for someone's weapon hand was one of the main targets, especially when you got a big guy who's got a lot of armor on. All right, the joints are where you go for because in order to bend them, they can't have the big, you know, they have to be less well protected to allow for flexibility. All right, so wrists, you know, samurai would constantly be going for the other guy's wrist, which is weird because their katanas have that tiny little tsuba guard instead of a big like cross guard like a medieval sword, which you think would, or a rapier, which would give your hand a lot more protection. Anyway, all right, so I arc off, I cut down, turn this over, cut there, and then punch cut to his throat. Now, punch, I'm just gonna punch this way, past his head, boom, and then let the force of the strike do the work. All right, so super slow motion. I used it, see, here I didn't have a weapon, so I used my arm. Here, I have a weapon, so I'm gonna use it. So I'm gonna take him off angle with the knife. Then I'm gonna control that. Now see the wrist lock? Okay, so I'm controlling his thumb with my fingers and I'm putting pressure on the back of his first knuckle to turn that over. So I could also fillet up through the bicep if I wanted to be a little less lethal, but I still wanted him completely incapacitated, right? So 1, 2, 3, right? 4, 5. But see how I use the knife to do the work? All right, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, and see what I'm doing there is I'm cutting up through all the tendons under his arm. So that'll be useless. Okay, but hey, I left his face alone, so, you know, all right. So 1, 2, and then just cut right up the whole body to his neck. All right.
Just stab him in the leg.
And then turn it over,
very
cut
lethal.
this way, bring it back this way. Or come up the arm, go behind it, kick it down. All right. All right. So just some old Filipino knife fighting that I know from the olden days. All right, questions? Boy, you guys are quiet. I can hear crickets chirping. Come here, Chase. All right, so we are kind of cramped here, but let's do
Bob, you can move Bob over.
yeah. Well, let's do a two-man scenario. Let me Bob a little taller. There, he's a little more threatening now. He's almost as tall as me. All right, all right. If two guys are attacking you, they're trying to flank you, which means one guy is going to be trying to be in front of you, the other one is going to try to come around and get a free swing at you, basically sucker punch style, because you can't see it coming. All right, so you have to be aware that there are multiple people, and your job is to do what we call stacking. You need to stack them up. You can't be in between the two of them. So if he comes in with a roundhouse right attack, whatever, I need to get this to happen. All right, so, and then fight one of them while he's in his buddy's way. All right, hopefully they'll jostle a little bit so I can get a good shot in on one of them. All right, but in this case, if I can't get away, I'm like, well, you know what, I'm 52 years old, and he's half my age, and you know, there's no way I'm outrunning him. So I need to make sure that that I end this here, because they will catch me if I try to run. So, all right, but I need to get them stacked up. I can't have them both on one side. So the problem is people get fixated on one opponent. So let's, you know, I'm doing 5 swords. So here comes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so let's change that now. Pretend Bob. I'm sorry, Bob. I know you don't have any arms, but let's say Bob tried to hit me. So I'm like, 1, 2, 3. What do you think he's doing? He's going to be grabbing me in a chokehold or a bear hug, or he's going to be punching me in the kidney or the back of the head, or coming around sideways for a sideways swing to the hinge of the jaw. All right, boom. All right, to hit me from the back. So you cannot be here. You can't get tied up with one person for any length of time. And you can't have your back to a person so you don't know where they are. All right, so from here, if I'm here, instead of facing one, as soon as I see the second guy come in, I have to turn sideways. And I need to, all right, I need to use my peripheral vision so I can see which one of them moves first. All right. Now, I'm probably not going to wait for one of them to move. In this case, if they do flank me like this, I'm going to pick one of them and attack him as quickly as I can to surprise him, because he's not expecting it. I might not even let him know that I know he's there until I kick. Okay? All right. But from practicing your crossover rear kicks and your spinning rear kicks, you should have a pretty good idea of where that person is without having to turn your head all the way and look at them. Right? So like, hey guys, man, I don't want any trouble. Boom! And then, you know, you're facing one person and he comes in, get him stacked. Oh! Oh! I got him in the groin and the eye on that one. Oh. You forgot to wear a cup. Oh, okay. But anyway, as you can see, poor Chase. He's getting beat up. This coronavirus has been really rough on him. All right. All right. But you can see as I tippy-tapped his groin, what a major effect that had. And it's just imagine if you open hand slap it as hard as you can, what's going to happen. And you saw his head snap forward. And I gently touched his eye socket because I saw his head coming forward and I didn't want to hurt him. All right, that's called control. You know, it's a good thing I have control. All right, boom, boom. All right, so hit hard, hit fast, and your eye is always on getting the heck out of there. All right, if there's two of them, then you do not stay in the middle. All right, a lot of Kempo techniques teach us pretty much to stay in the middle, and that's really a bad plan. Okay, we need to get out of being in the middle as soon as possible, right? So if we're doing the bear and the ram, for instance, this guy grabs me in a bear hug. All right, well, there's nothing I can do right now. All right, but once he comes in with the punch, boom, and then I do this. All right, and you'll see I'm still standing right in between the two of them. So if any of my strikes were minimally effective, all right, then I'm going to have a problem. So I kick him, I plant, buckle him, elbow, and then I come over here. And if he's still up, see, I'm putting my back, alternating which one I put my back to, all right? Which, if you're really good and they have no idea what's coming and they didn't expect it, sure, you can pull it off, but it's a higher risk situation, right? I'd be much better off, right, dealing with one person at a time. If I Bob's okay, I can still get around. All right, so 1, 2, 3, and then instead of, all right, and I'll switch to chase to show you what I would do there. Right. So again, I would take one of them back with the intention of choking him out. Should take 4 to 8 seconds, right? All right. But see how I have him bent back so he can't do anything, and I'd be backing up. Again, I'm using him as a human shield against his friend there. All right. But instead of going cat around, elbow hammer, crossover, rear, which is a great movement exercise. I'm not saying that, oh, well, techniques are useless. No, they teach you patterns of movement. They're great. It'll teach you how to hit one person and come right off, hit the next person. That's great. But in order to do that and hit them more, you have to stand in between them, which is not what you really want to do. When there's multiple opponents, you have to stack them so you're only fighting one at a time, all right? Unless they're kind enough to be extras in a Bruce Lee movie and all stand around while one person attacks you at a time, don't expect that to happen, all right? So I pin, cat, elbow, hammer, and I would want to get right behind the guy. Right here, I actually am in a position to put him in sleeper, all right? Because this is under his arm across. Take your shoulder in there, right? All right. So, does anyone have any questions on anything we did today? Burning questions. Sam. Josh. Natalie. Chloe. Earl.
Katarina. Whirling Warrior.
Oh, Whirling Warrior. Oh, all right.
But what about the one with the two opponents who step back?
Okay. Yeah, since we're talking about two, all right. So, the ram and the eagle. All right. So he comes in with that straight right punch to my face. I'm going to do an inward block, break his arm, and as I step back, boom! I'm going to hammer fist this guy in the face. So that's like for the movies, right? Boy, I would love to pull that one off for real. That would be so much fun, right? So not only do you break this guy's elbow, but you also hit his buddy in the face, all right? And then you step right up and hit him in the eye. Then you're gonna spin, boom, and then, but you don't get to finish him off before, boom. You have to do 5 swords on him, and then finish him off with a roundhouse ball kick to the solar plexus. All right. So instead of stepping forward, like we do on Whirling Warrior, aka Flashing Mace, right? We're gonna step back, bam, and catch this and hit him in the face all at the same time. Maintain your check, then hit him in the eye, spin, check, and chop. Clear that hand as you front kick, and then he comes in with a roundhouse punch, block, chop, punch, chop, 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 kick, and then you're back to this guy. All right? All right. So slow motion. Boom, 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 boom. All right, you don't get to finish him off. Front kick and inward block. Chop, palm, punch, chop, chop. Now this last one, instead of a chop to the throat, is a horizontal hammer fist across the gut. This hand's up to protect you from him, and then you're gonna rotate, full rotation, and hit him in the stomach with a roundhouse ball kick. Now the roundhouse ball kick's a great kick. All right, I love it because here's why. Last thing for today, hands up. If someone's in a defensive position, they usually have that blocked. right? But they have this little triangle of empty space right there that you can sneak that kick into, see, and hit with the ball of the foot instead of with the shin, okay? Why? Because the ball of the foot moves in a narrower path of action. When you do this kick, your path of action is like that big. But when you do this kick, your path of action is only like this big, all right? So it's harder to block because it's basically you're doing a front kick flipped on its 45-degree angle. Great kick, one of my favorites. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Hit that like button.
Hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be back in action. You know, not too soon. I don't want this I don't want everybody to go back to their normal day, you know, too early and end up, you know, with a second round of coronavirus going around. So hopefully everyone does the smart thing and continues to self-isolate as much as possible until this thing is really nipped in the bud. All right, so attention stance, horse stance, warrior scholar, attention, and bow. Thanks, guys.
Girl says bye.
See you guys.
Just give it 2 minutes for the minute.
Eli is here.
Eli,
Nikki and Tommy.
Bat Mall.
Elena.
Hello, Elena. Hello, George. Will and Emma. And man, what do we have to do to get Jim and Matt on here? Then we'd have the whole class. All right, guys. So let's get warmed up. Horse stance, warrior scholar, attention and bow. All right. So you can either pivot and punch, pivot and punch, pivot and punch, pivot and punch, or you can go high, middle, low, pivot and punch, high, middle, low. 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 Pivot and punch. Okay, so do 10 sets. Start getting warmed up. So George, Elena, Tom, Nick, Eli. Who else?
Eli, Nikki and Tommy. Elena.
All right, next drill, inward, outward, upward, downward. All right, so let's talk about double factoring for a minute. So when we do our outward block, upward block, or downward block, technically what we really want to do is an inward block, outward block combination. All right, so we want to set both hands into motion. All right, as you can tell, like from your training, lots of times when you do stuff with one hand, the other one just kind of hangs there and doesn't do anything because you're focused on doing stuff with one hand. All right, so what we need to do is we need to make both hands active. All right, so inward, outward, right? In, out, in, out, in, out. So this sets both hands into motion. Now, from there, inward, outward, come across to your center line, inward, upward, bring this across your center line, inward, downward. See, so in, out, in, up, in, down. So that's called double factor. Inward blocks are a single factor block. When you do an inward block, only one hand goes. But when you do your outward block or upward block, you want to set both hands into motion. So they're called double factor blocks. All right? So inward block, outward block, inward block, upward block, inward block, downward block, in, out, in, up, in, down, 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 in, out, in, up, in, down. Okay? All right, if you're having a little trouble with that, just do it in pieces. Just go in, out, then just go in, up, and then just go in, down, in, down. Now you'll notice that as one block starts, the other one's always chambered. So what I'm basically doing here is inward in chamber, outward in chamber, upward in chamber, and now I'm chambered for my downward, right? So as one hand blocks, the other hand is going to be chambered. And since the downward block doesn't chamber at your waist, it chambers on your shoulder, that's going to go to your shoulder as this comes across to protect your groin. Pop, 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 in and down, in and down, in and down, in and down. Let's do it in pieces on the other side. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. All right. In, up, in, up, in, up, in, up, in, up. In and down, 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 in and down. All right, so putting the whole thing together. In, out, up, down. 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 All right, very good. All right, so let's do our footwork set. I'm going to turn around, follow me. Ready? One shuffle forward, one shuffle back, one shuffle left, one shuffle right, probe forward, sit back, slip left, slip right, arc off. All right, so shuffle forward, shuffle back, shuffle left, shuffle right, probe, sit, slip, slip, arc. All right? All right, so let me see. Now, on this program, Chase, when I move my left hand on here, my left hand on there, it's not a mirror image. Is that a mirror image on YouTube? Like, is that showing me waving my left hand or my right hand? Hi, guys. Hello?
Yeah, you're waving your left hand.
Okay. All right, so it flips it. Cool. All right, so coming at you then. Left side forward. All right. All right, so I'm going to match you guys. So when you shuffle forward, I shuffle back. Ready? So forward, back, left, right. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Probe, sit, slip, slip, arc. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Probe, sit, slip, slip, arc. All right. Any questions on that? All right. All right, so let's put our left side back in a forward bow. We'll start on the left side this time. Hands up. And close kneeling stance, forward bow, neutral. Wide kneeling stance, neutral bow, reverse. Close kneeling stance, reverse, neutral. Side horse, neutral. Cat, crane, cat, neutral. Jump switch. Forward bow, close kneel, forward bow, neutral bow. Wide kneel, neutral bow, reverse bow. Close kneel, reverse bow, neutral bow. Side horse, neutral. Cat, crane, cat, neutral, forward, and feet together. All right. Next, back fist counter, jab, sit. I'm gonna get sideways. So, front foot, front hand, back foot, backhand, front foot, front hand, back foot by itself. Return. Back fist, counter, jab, sit, return. 1, 2, 3, sit. 1, 2, 3, sit. 1, 2, 3, sit. 1, 2, 3, sit. All right. Now let's practice hitting while we're going backwards. So, from here, step back with your right and throw a right. Step back with your left and throw a left. Right and left, right and left. And again, right and left, right and left, right and left, right and left. And one more time. Step back with your right and throw a right. Step back with your left and throw a left. Step back with your right and throw a right. Step back with your left and throw a left. Right, left, right, left, right. Make sure you get those hips all the way turned. Okay? Since you're moving backwards, you don't have a lot of backup mass. We're counting on him coming in to provide borrowed force. What's borrowed force? That's when he moves into our strike. All right? That's borrowed force. So whenever possible, we want him moving towards our strike. All right, because then it's going to hit him harder. All right, so now let's put those two together. So we're going to do 2 shuffles forward, shuffle 1, shuffle 2, and then 1 shuffle back. Bump, bump. So ready? Shuffle forward 1, shuffle forward 2, shuffle back. Let's do that again. Forward, forward, and back. All right, now let's put our hips in the correct position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So ready? Front, back, you have to turn to a forward. Front, wide kneel. Now you have to step with your back foot first. Forward, neutral. All right, ready? And neutral, forward, neutral, wide kneel. Forward, neutral. All right, so front foot steps. As our back foot steps, we turn to do our right punch. Our front foot steps again, and as we slide our back foot up, we drop down into a kneeling stance to get our head, change the height of our head. All right? Now from there, the right foot that just stepped up steps back again. And you turn your hips, and then you come back to your neutral. All right? So, front, back, front, back, back, front. All right, so let's put the hands in. Step with your front foot and back fist. Step with your back foot and punch. Step with your front foot and jab. Step with your back foot and sit. Now going backwards. Step back with your back foot and punch. Step back with your front foot and jab. All right? So when you go forward, your front foot goes first. And when you go back, your back foot goes first. Therefore, when you go forward, your front hand goes first. And when you go back, your back hand goes first. That's basically how your body works. Mechanically. All right, so back fist, counter, jab, sit, counter, jab. 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, practice that a couple of times. Use the counts. Now, if you're having a little trouble with the timing, do a little stomp with your foot. Listen. See? So make some noise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's how we get timing down, right? We make some noise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So, clapping, snapping, stomping, right? All right, so, count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, practice that a couple of more times. Do we have anybody else join us, Miss Liz? Okay. All right, so next thing. So the first move here, Mr. Chase, I need your help. All right, so boom, Mr. Chase is going to get in a horse stance. He's going to hold that up. Now, when you're holding pads, this is how we used to do it in the old days. You both get in a fighting stance. And the guy, okay. And, you know, I was wondering why my front deltoid always hurt. You know, because the guy's hitting it. Yeah. And so, no. When you're holding the pads, get in your horse stance and hold the pad out this way, perpendicular, not sideways. When you're sideways, your shoulder doesn't have far to go to eat that, you know, force. You can't absorb it over that much distance. Whereas when you're holding it here, you can absorb it over 180 degrees, right? So now, scoot back a little bit. So, our goal here is to learn how to get in, hit, and get back out. So this is our probe step. Our front foot steps and then return back. Our front foot steps. So we did our shuffles forward, we did our shuffles back. All right, now we're gonna do the probe step. So I'm gonna step in this way. So I start out of range, all right? And I step in and I strike the target, okay? And then I step back out of range. See, I'm out of range, I'm out of range, I'm in range, I'm back out of range. In range, back out of range. So you don't go and then stop. You never stop in range, okay? If you're in range, which means you're close enough to hit him, he's close enough to hit you, then you're doing one of two things. You're hitting him or you're getting the heck out of range, okay? So when you're in range, you're doing one of two things. You're either hitting him or you're getting the heck out of range. You never go into range doing nothing, except for one instance. And that's if you're faking him. Faking takes a lot of guts, because basically what a fake is going into range and not doing anything. But you see, if you do a good fake, he's not going to realize that you're not doing anything. He's going to think you're going to do something because you faked him, all right? So you stepped in and you made him think you were doing one thing while you're really doing something else. So the only time we'd step into range and not actually be trying to hit him, all right, is when we're executing some kind of deception, all right? So we're trying to fake. All right, so now, so this is teaching you how to step, keep your back foot locked in, how to step in with your front foot, fire. Now this is called an extension commitment. We're extending the weapon, but we're not committing our body. See, there's three types of commitments, all right? There's a full commitment, and that's just when we shuffle in. I just committed completely. My body is now in range. He can hit me, I can hit him. All right, I fully committed to the action and I'm in range. All right, now an extension commitment extends the weapon, but I don't commit my body by finishing the shuffle. I step in, I strike, and I step back out of range. I step in, I strike, and I step back out of range. Okay? All right, so being here, I'm out of range. I step into range to deliver the strike, and then I come right back. So I did not commit my body. I did not shuffle forward. I started to shuffle, but I never did the second step. I chose to return. So once you do that first step, at this point you have two choices. You can finish your shuffle, or you can choose to go back to where you started. So it's like, do I want to continue forward, or do I want to go back to where I started? All right, so you have two choices. So this extension commitment, you hit and you go back. So that's what the probe step is teaching you. And why do we want to probe? A probe is like the Marines sending in their force recon team, okay? Your job is to figure out what his timing is and what his tendencies are. When you fire that strike, what does he do? Does he shuffle back? Does he stand there and block? Does he try to hit you? All right, we're going to learn what kind of fighter this guy is, right? We have, he could be a lead fighter, he could be a counter fighter, he could be a runner, he could be a blocker, and most people aren't purely any one sort of fighter. They're, 40% this and 30% that and 20% this and 10% that, All right, so I throw this extended for a split second just to see what he does. How does he handle that? What does he do? Does he block it with his front hand? Does he back up? Or does he, as soon as I throw it, try to turn and hit me with a counter strike? You know, we don't know. All right? And it's very dangerous fully committing to an attack when you have no idea what this guy is going to do in retaliation. So we need intelligence, right? You never just send the troops in not knowing where the bad guys are hunkered down, right? Where the bunkers are, where the machine guns are, you want to know where his defense is, all right? And you want to know what his capabilities are before you get yourself knocked out by accidentally guessing wrong, I guess, all right? So now, since I start out of range, I strike and I step back. So I want you to go like this. In, back out, in, back out, in. All right? So I'm probing to find out what he's going to do. Out and back, out and back. I like what I see. Out and in. On the third one, instead of going out, back, I'm going to go out, out. So in and out, in and out, in and in, in and out, in and out, in and in, in and out, in and out, in and in. Now it doesn't have to be 3, but you get the idea. You're going to see what he does, and then pop, work off of that. So let me give you for instance. Let's say this guy came up, he wanted to fight me. He gets in a boxing stance. I'm like, hey man, I don't want any trouble, but he's not having it and I can't get away. So I try to talk him down. Back off, man, I don't want to fight. I said, leave me alone. Back off. He's not listening. All right, so we're here. I could throw out that back fist just to see how he blocks it. Oh, thank you. Bam. So you can use that to determine what my next move is. All right, so most people, especially when they first start sparring, 2 things. Instead of moving in arcs and circles, they move in straight lines. So when you attack, they back straight up, and when they attack, they come straight in. All right? Most people are like that. Untrained people are like that. So, number 2 is untrained or early in their training fighter tends to always try to block everything with his front hand. All right? And you need to know what he's going to do. Now, if I step in and he blocks that with his front hand, he's just giving me valuable information that I can use to defeat him. I know that when I try to hit him with this, he's going to block it with that, which means he's giving me a handle. I can check him, right? Boom. All right? I can grab a hold of his wrist. Now, checking. When you check a person, you need to check 3 zones: their height, their width, and their depth. So those are our 3 physical dimensions, right? And the 4th dimension is time. I don't know what 5th through 11th dimensions are because I haven't read that book on string theory. But anyway, all right, he blocks it with his front hand. That means he doesn't have another hand left to protect against this. Or you can grab a hold of it, right? Now, so let me, Chase is going to throw a back fist at me. I'm going to show you 2 different things. One. See me blocking with my front hand? All right. See me blocking with my backhand? All right. So, Dennis used to tell us back in the day, all right, I'm sure he still tells us guys that you assign hands, all right? So, in order to not get crossed up, see, because this is a problem. If I use this to block this hand, what do I have left to block that one with? Nothing. All right, so this used to get me in a lot of trouble when I was like a orange belt and purple belt because I would cross block. So what you're doing is when he throws his left, you take it with your right. When he throws his right, you take it with your left. Bump, 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 bump. Okay? All right, so you don't cross block because if he throws that and you do this, then slow motion.
Oh.
Won't, and boom, see? Because I crossed over, now this hand's back here, and it's not going to be able to react in time to get there. So as soon as anything moves, right, I know that that's That's what's going to take that. So as soon as that moves, I know this hand's on the job. As soon as that moves, I know this hand's on the job. Okay? Okay. So if he blocks that way, oh, great. He's just giving you an opportunity to check him. So in order to check width, now punch my hand. Good. Punch my hand. Punch my hand. All right? You have to make him so he cannot rotate on his axis line. All right, so I come here, I turn here, see here he can turn his hips, turn his shoulders, roll that toe in the sand and really drive this punch in, but if I do this, now he can't because he's crossed up. Now that's one. All right, now checking height. If I go like this, he can still kick me. Whoa, hey, I don't want that. So to check height, I need to put ready, go. Ready, and go. Ready, and go. Ready, and go. All right, see, that checks height. But the problem is, if I just check height, he can punch me because I didn't, so I can't just check his height, and I can't just check his width. I need to check his depth as well, so that all three of his zones are checked. So I need to bring him across and down and in, see? And now he's pretty much in a I can't do anything situation for me to get the first strike in on him. And then the second, and then the third. All right? So after you catch that, you take this down and on the diagonal past your left hip. Okay? That puts his shoulders in front of his hips and it takes away a lot of his strength. Okay? All right. So I'm going to back fist you. You're going to block it. 1, 2, see? Boom, boom. And that lets me do a follow-up move. So he gave me valuable information. All right. So now, what if he goes, yeah, you know what? I see what you're doing. You want to get me to block with my front hand. Well, I'm not going to do it. So I go to back. This he blocks with his backhand. Uh-oh. Okay. So he blocks that and comes right over with the jab, right? So he's 1, 2, boom, 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 boom. So I throw here, then here, and he blocks that, and he throws, and I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, 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 boom. See? So you can get with your partner and do that a whole bunch of times. You try to back fist him in the head, he blocks it with his back hand, comes back, you block it, he blocks it, you block it, he blocks it. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, your arms are gonna get all red. All right. So that is setting up your opponent, seeing what he does, reacting to what he gives you. All right. And then a little flow drill to teach you backhand blocking. Okay? All right. Questions? All right. So now, so we did our footwork set. We did our back is counter jab sit counter jab set. Work on that because we are going to be for brown and black belts. We're going to be adding 2 more moves. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 altogether. There's 4 steps forward, back fist counter jab sit. 2 steps back, 1, 2. 2 steps left, 1, 2. So there's 8 moves in the set. Back fist counter, jab sit, counter jab. All right, so you got to practice getting your upper body and your lower body working together in tandem so you're always in the correct position mechanically to deliver your best strikes. Okay? All right. So we did our shuffle set, we did our back fist counter jab sit set, and we just added some learned about commitments. All right. Now, a full commitment means you shuffle in and try to hit him. An extension commitment means you probe, you extend your weapon, but then you come back out. Then the third type of commitment is called a half commitment. We use that on fakes. Okay, so Mr. Chase, if you can help me. All right, so I just want you to put this arm this way. All right, so when you fake, all right, the reason most people are no good at faking is because they go like, where do they go? But a fake has to have three things, all right? Number one, it has to be believable. All right, so in order to be believable, you have to have correct trajectory and correct distance. For instance, if Chase is way back there and I go, all right, that he's not going to bite on that fake because he knows I can't hit him from here. I have to be here. Now, if I'm here, ready, go. You going to protect your head or what?
Oh, I
you
thought I
ready?
wasn't supposed to move.
No. All right, well, all right, let me hit. All right, so boom. See that? See what I did? See how he flinched? That's the fake. So first you throw it. See, then you get him to flinch. First you throw it, then you get him to flinch. And when he's flinching, because he thinks you're going to do it again. All right, so this is the next thing. In order to do a good fake, you have to set it up, which means you have to do the actual strike a couple of times and let him see it. Look at that strike. Look at that strike. And then you'll notice on the last one, I only go halfway out. This is not a fake. Okay? That's a fake. Faking is done with a small pump of the arm and your shoulder. All right? It's all about intention in the body. People are like, ha, 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 ha. They just move the arm. That's not a fake. All right? So, see? See? So, boom. All right. So you get him to flinch and move to the wrong spot. All right, so in order to fake, you do a half commitment. So your arm doesn't extend. That's a probe. This. All right? See? So you have to set it up. Set it up. Set it up. Set it, see? And your fake, the beginning of your fake has to look exactly like the actual move. If you're like this, he's not going to buy it, right? Because you didn't set anything up. Now the next thing, a fake has to come in under the line of vision. You can't fake over the guy's head. It has to come in under his eyes. See? All right? So as he's here, it's got to come in under his eyes. All right. All right? It's got to come in under his eyes. All right? Now, so it has to have the correct trajectory. So now, we talked about distance. Why isn't he biting on my fake? Well, the reason he's not biting on your fake is because you're too far away. You don't have the correct distance. Oh, okay. Why isn't he biting on my fake? Because it has the wrong trajectory. It's not heading into the target. You need it to go towards the target. All right, now, here's the funny thing. The more you train, the easier you are to get to flinch like that. Okay? Unless you specifically train yourself not to. Because the more you train, the faster your visual acuity is, the better hand-eye coordination you have, and the quicker you respond to a perceived threat. Well, you think, yeah, I want to be fast. If he's throwing something at me, I want to be quick. I want to get there fast. I don't want to be, slow. I don't want him to hit me because I didn't get there in time. I got to be fast. And of course, the better trained you are, the faster you'll get to the defensive position, which is great, except that what you're learning is to pick up on the cues, okay, of his body. All right. So as soon as I start this, see, I don't have to extend my arm to get him to react to it. You see? All right. So very important that you practice relaxing your vision and seeing shots come in and blocking them to protect yourself from getting into that, moving fast, moving really quickly to a spot where he's not really attacking. So the better trained you get, the faster you pick up movement, the easier you are to fake, okay? Unless you specifically train not to get tricked on his fake attempt. All right. So well, now wait a minute. Why do I want to? What are you teaching me to slow down? No. What I'm teaching you to do, right, is to cover your targets and move the minimum you have to block that shot. All right, so that you're still in position if he tries to fake you. All right, so an early belt or an untrained person, they totally overreact. Like, I don't block, They overreact. Their movement is too big. You need to bring that in and only do the amount of movement you need to not get hit. He only has to miss you by an inch. He doesn't have to miss you by a foot. In fact, the less he misses you by, the better position you're in to hit him back. All right? Because if he just misses you by a couple of inches, then you're probably close enough to hit him a few times. All right? As opposed to if you make him miss you by a foot, then you're probably a foot too far away to hit him back. Now, if you've got a significant reach advantage, so George, if you're fighting Elena, not so much. All right? But Elena, if you're fighting George, yeah. All right. Okay, so we talked about extension commitments. We talked about our probe and getting back out of range. Then we talked about, setting them up with a couple of probes and then using that as a basis for our counterattack because we find out what his timing is and what his tendencies are. Does anyone have any questions? Miss Liz, are there any questions on the board?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about the importance of stances. Now, it's been a while since we did this in class, but let me see something here. All right. So, Chase, I'm gonna punch you, and I want you to do 5 swords. Ready, go. What happened?
I don't know. Your arm was really stiff.
My arm was really stiff, and what happened?
I don't know.
All right. I knocked you off balance.
Okay.
Didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't get down on your legs. Ugh! See, if you're too high in your stance and this guy hits you, he's gonna make you wobble. Now, he doesn't even have to knock you down. All he has to do is that, and boom, he's gonna nail you with his next shot. Okay? So you can't wobble. So number one, you don't want to overreact. You don't want to bite on fakes. And you want to make sure that you're in a really good stance so that when he tries to punch you, it hurts him. When he tries to hit you. And you don't go, all right, I'm going to do it badly. All right, ready? You punch me. You don't have that happen when you block. All right? Because if that's coming in hard at your head with intent, all right, and you interrupt it, the energy has to go somewhere. And if you're not grounded, the energy is going to continue in the direction it's going, and you're going to get knocked over. But if you bend your knees and you get down on your legs, now that energy is going down into the floor. Okay? All right. So, if you've got a partner there, all right, I want you to get in a really good defensive stance, and I want your partner to just try to give you a little shove and knock you over. And see how low you have to get in your stance to not get moved. See, I'm not moving Chase at all. Now straighten your knees up. Now I'm moving them. See, so this is how low Chase needs to be. Oh, I got him. All right, to keep me from moving him. All right, with a light push. All right, so you need to get down in those legs. I'm constant. I don't know. If I had a nickel for every time I told someone to bend their knees in class, I could have retired years ago. All right, but yeah, you really, really, really have to get down in that moment, in your stance, to absorb that energy, let it flow through you and down out into the ground instead of continuing on the plane of force that it's on, which is going to knock you off balance. Okay? So figure out where you just were when all of a sudden you went from wobbling to being able to not wobble. And that's your stance. That's where you need to be just for that split second. Now, in Kempo, we have two things. Well, martial arts in general, we have mobility or stability. We can't be both mobile and stable. We have one or the other, and it's a trade-off. So what we normally are is mobile, stable, mobile. Mobile, stable, mobile. Mobile, stable, mobile, stable, mobile. See? And the stability is intermittent. So it's mobility with intermittent stability. All right? So we're not always high. All right? Now, you don't ever just stay down in your stable position when someone's trying to attack you. All right? Because our first line of defense is always move the target. So you're always thinking move, but you also want to train your body that when that shot's coming in and you need to do the block, you are set for it in that split second, but then you're right back out of it. So mobile, stable, mobile. Mobile, stable, mobile. Mobile, stable, mobile. And you notice as I drop, my head is moving. I'm changing my height, my width, my depth. And my nose, which was here, is now over here. So I moved it like, 8 or 10 inches. All right. So his fist isn't 8 or 10 inches wide. So if he's aiming here and I move it 8 inches, he just missed me. And yay. All right. All right. So, excuse me one moment. Am I going to sneeze? I don't know. Thank you. All right. So that's a good drill to practice with your partner, and practice staying low while the other person tries to knock you off balance. Just lightly. Don't try to shove the guy across the room. Okay. Any questions on the board?
All right. All right.
So I wanted to talk about stability. I talked about trapping,
Faking.
faking. All right. So now, a very high level skill for defense is called drawing. Now, faking is a way that you move into range, making him think you're intending to attack one target when in reality you're attacking a completely different target, but he doesn't know it because you did such a good job of pretending you were trying to hit the first target that he left the second target wide open while he went to try to block to the first target, which you weren't even really aiming at because it was a fake. Now, drawing is a way to get him to attack you where you want to get attacked. Okay, so where I put my hands can determine where the bad guy is going to swing. So if I have my hands down here, what am I telling him? I'm telling him, attack my head. So I could be like, hey man, I could be like this, right? And then go, hey man, I don't want any trouble. And as soon as I go like that, he's like, oh, there's the opening, for the attack. But see, I knew I wanted him to do that. So I'm here, and like a hell, all right. Wrist lock, rip his head off. All right. Shoulder lock. All right, whatever. All right. So you get, hey man, I don't want any trouble. You get him to attack where you want him to attack. So if my hands are down here, what am I saying? I'm saying try to hit me in the head. If my hands are up here, what am I saying? Try to hit me down here. If my hands are out here, what am I saying? Come down the middle. If my hands are here, what am I saying? Come around the sides. You see? So he's going to attack you where your defense isn't. All right? Unless he's trying to fake you, in which case he will pretend to be going where your defense isn't, and then when you go to defend it, he'll attack a different place. So don't fall for fakes. All right. So if I'm here, hey man, I don't want any trouble, then you have to know the moment that attack comes in, you know what, whatever, it doesn't matter. So and well, as always, whenever possible, we need to get to the outside. So if he throws a jab, I'm going to go this way. If he throws a right, I'm going to go this way. I don't want to go this way and walk right into that. All right, so you always go to the outside because we want to be behind the guy. Right? If I can get him to throw the right, whoa, see, I'm behind him. Right? If I can get him to throw the left, whoa, look, I'm behind him. What I don't want to be is inside one strike and not hitting him. Because when we're in range, we're doing one of two things. We're hitting him or we're getting the heck out of range. Right? We're not standing in there, all right, made a miss and then, you know, because that's why we never really want to slip to the inside. Now, some people, some professional boxers are really good at slipping to the inside and they don't get hit. All right, so they'll be here and then they'll be out here, and you know, because they've got such good defensive movement, right? But since we're not at that level, you know, we want to make sure we're on the outside to get that punch as far away from us as possible. Okay, so when you draw, you try to get him. Hey man, I don't want any trouble. Yep. All right, to attack you in a specific area. All right, this is much more used in sport fighting, boxing and kickboxing and MMA than it would be used in a street situation. Although probably most guys on the street are headhunters. They're looking for the headshot. All right. So then, hey man, look, I don't want any trouble. That might be, see, the only one you'd really use, because it might not be likely that if you're in a Thai boxing position, you know, with your hands up, that they're going to say, "Oh, I'm going to try to hit him in the body," you know, because unless they're trained, they're not going to think about hitting you anywhere that isn't the head. In every street situation I've ever had, except the one where the guy came up behind me and grabbed me around the waist, and I did crashing wings on him, it's always been a roundhouse right punch to the head every single time. So, now, blocking, we were practicing blocking earlier. Blocking teaches, or it's teaching a pattern of movement, just like a technique. Our blocks teach full range of motion, or what we call full line of travel, from as far back here as it can be to as far out, so that you can pick the block up in the middle and still have power on it and not be out of position. But blocking is a mistake, just like a Kempo technique is a mistake. If you're in position to do a block, that means you weren't in position to begin with. You were out of position and you needed to get in position. Just like a technique. If someone comes up and grabs you, you already made one mistake. Your awareness skills were not there. They came up and they put a hand on you, and you didn't even know that they were there. So your awareness was not where it should have been. If you have good awareness, you should never be able to pull off a verbatim Kempo technique. Now, when I had to do crashing wings, it was 11:30 at night in a very bad neighborhood where our company had a warehouse, and it was my job that night to lock up the warehouse, and it was 11:30, and it was dark, and there was like one 60-watt bulb above the doorway to the warehouse. All right, so it was very dark. So all there was like one puddle of light, one pool of light. And as I went to my car, he stepped out and grabbed me. I didn't see him in the dark, okay? But I still managed to react. That is what your Kempo training is for, to teach you not to panic and to do something in that situation, which was great because I was only like a blue belt at the time and it worked perfectly. All right. But if you know there's a potential problem, you should already be in a defensive position. So either hands up, ready to block because they're already up. They don't have to get in position because they're already in position. Or same thing, right side forward. Your hands are already up. All right, so let's do a little drill. Everybody, put your feet close together. Bend your knees. Inhale. Close your eyes. All right, do a couple deep breaths. Now, when I yell move, I want you to drop back into a fighting stance as fast as you can. Ready? Inhale. Move! You can open your eyes when you move, by the way. All right, ready? Feet together. Inhale. Move! Feet together. Close your eyes. Move! All right. What foot is forward? What foot did you step back with? Did you step back with your right foot? Did you step back with your left foot? What foot drops back into a defensive position? See, that's important to know because what you do will depend a lot on your starting position. If you're left side forward because you step back with your right foot, you're probably not going to do 5 swords because you have to cross your body to do it. All right? And you're not going to have any power twisting like that. And you're all out of position. All right? You don't have structural integrity, and it's going to be hard not to get knocked off balance. Okay? If your left side's forward, boom, all right, we're going to have to do something else. All right? Now, if your right side's forward, then, oh, great, I'm in position to do Defying the Storm. I'm in position to do 5 swords. I'm in position to, any of your inside techniques. Wow, good. Yeah, I'm in good position to do Calming the Storm. Whatever the case may be. Okay, so think about when you drop back suddenly against an unexpected sudden attack, what foot do you have in front? And then work your defenses primarily from that position. Now you have to practice both sides forward and get good at both sides. And over time it may change. You say, you know what, I used to like having my left side forward, but now I feel a lot more comfortable with my right side forward. That's fine. Mr. Parker loved to have his right side forward because he was right-handed and that was his power side. And he wanted his hardest hitting, most coordinated side to be forward closer to his opponent. All right, so and that's solid thinking. Other people are like, well, I want my power side back so I can really lay into that punch, which is a very boxing mentality, right? So it's not that one is really good and one is really bad, but you have to be trained on both, and you have to think about what you can do from the position you're in, so you don't start doing things like stepping back and then crossing yourself up, blocking with the wrong hand, being all twisted, okay? Because that's not going to be an effective defensive maneuver. All right, Miss Liz, do we have any questions? All right.
No.
All right, so next. What's up, Mr. Chase?
No, nothing. Just keep going.
Oh, okay. Oh, I think I'm gonna lose power here. Chase is running for the cord. All right. So now we know we have our 3 starting positions, right? Left side forward, right side forward. We're squared off. Oh yeah, there's really 4 positions, right? But the 4th one is standing with your back to the guy. And we're never going to start like that if we can help it, all right? Well, I could just rear kick him. Yeah, okay. But let's start off in a better position. Why take the risk? That's much riskier. Standing with your back to the bad guy, that's much riskier than being in a defensive position with your knees bent, your hands up, ready to defend yourself. All right? So for our purposes, left side forward, right side forward, and even. Now, if a person is being aggressive or belligerent, you don't ever want to just be standing like this, because I see people standing like this, and then they get sucker punched and knocked out because they're squared off, their hands are at their side, their knees aren't bent, they're not set, they're not ready to take a punch physically, you know, and mentally they don't even know what's happening. Is it, well, is this going to get physical, or is this just going to be a verbal encounter? And the bad guy, he already knows if it's going to get physical. He already knows if he intends to hit you. All right. In his mind, that may or may not be a possibility, and if it is a possibility, he's already ready for it. Okay. So he comes up. He's like blah 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 blah. And you're like, well, blah, blah, blah. You're right. This is not a good defensive position. We have to be here. Look, hey man, I don't want any trouble. All right. Now your hands are already in position. Now look, if they're already in position, they really don't have to move very much to protect you, right? So boom. Movement's always our first line of defense. So I go whoop, and I go from mobile whoop to stable for a split second. Catch that shot. Boom, 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 and then I'm mobile again. All right. Okay, so that was a lot of new stuff today for you guys to work on. So last opportunity for questions. We got 3 minutes left. Miss Liz, anything? No? Okay. All right. So 3 positions for our body, and now there's 4 starting positions for our hands, right? Our hands can be higher than his, lower than his. One can be on each side, or they can both be on the same side, right? So, Mr. Chase, if you'll help me, if your hands are up and just straight right, you're going to come down. See, if your hands are up, you come down. So I'm up, I come down. All right? All right. If my hands are down, I come up. I'm down, I go up. I'm down, I go up. All right? If I have one hand on each side, they cross. It's like giving yourself a big hug, right? It's like, whoa, they cross. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm whacking him in the bicep as I go by. All right? So, all right? And if our hands are both on the same side, I'll do it this way. All right? They both come up. Okay? All right. So, as you where your hands are, I made his hand go numb. So where your hands are is, and where your feet are, is going to determine what you're going to do. All right, whether you're going, what technique you're going to do, if you're working on a Kempo technique, or what your defense will be. And again, a technique is just a bunch of basics put together as a response to a particular attack to teach you a pattern of movement. It's not necessarily the single best thing to do, all right? And the truth of the matter is, you will never pull off an entire Kempo technique on a bad guy, ever, because there's too many variables, okay? In the ideal state, it never goes down that way. All right, so when I did crashing wings, I did that, I pinned his hands, that was great. I went around his leg, that was great. I elbowed him, that was great. And he wasn't there anymore when I went to hammer fist him in the groin. He was already on the ground, see? So I didn't get to do my last move because he was already on the floor. So what you want to remember is that you go through the pattern, all right, to teach you what to do from whatever that position is that you happen to find yourself in. So you may just use that little tiny bit of a technique, right? So you may only use the first move or the first 2 moves, or you may use move 4 and 5 and not even use moves 1, 2, and 3, you know, because of whatever the case may be, the situation. But since all that movement, by practicing and practicing and practicing your technique, is instilled in your body, you can just pull it out when you need it, or better yet, it'll just flow. And that's what we're ultimately working for, is to take having to think out of the equation. You know, thinking is too slow. If you wait till the speed of thought, you're going to get beaten. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hurt. Thought is too slow. You need to move at the speed of impulse. As soon as you have the impulse, you have to be moving. You can't wait to have a complete thought, which means your body has to be trained on what to do already, so that it can just take the path of least resistance. Okay? All right, guys. Thanks for coming out today. Attention stance. All right. We'll be zooming on Tuesday at 6:15. If you're not busy doing schoolwork or whatever, put that on your calendar, and I will see you then. So, attention stance, horse stance, warrior scholar. All right, stay healthy, stay safe, and hope I'll see you in person soon. Attention, and